It can be argued that the history of civilization and the history of our personal lives as becoming part of civilization is a strong movement towards Sphere 8, the we space, the static masculine, the rules, the limitations, the orders. And sometimes we are complicit and try to advance within that structure, and other times we feel a victim to that structure. And other times we try to escape that structure. Other times we try to lead a revolution against that structure, only to see that we replace it with a new, energetically similar structure, even if the ideology and the behaviors are different. So we can't say if there's any reason why this happens, but we can consider that it's all about acceptance, radically accepting this confusion exercise. And what is confusing about all of this is that we have to suppress our own Sphere 7, free child, our desire to just not be so criticized and limited and controlled. The irony is, if you look at Gareth Hill's model, you have dynamic masculine, which is running from the union of the mother toward the promises of the father, the static masculine. And then you go back to dynamic again with the dynamic feminine to find your way back to the mother. Dynamic feminine is playful and relaxed. Can the dynamic feminine exist inside a static masculine structure? Or do you have to wait till you retire or go senile or go insane? Like, is there a way to do it while you're still in that structure? The structure has demands on you, constant demands. And this is why we see the hermit and the Taoist fool just kind of going away from civilization. But for those of us who, for whatever reasons, we just don't feel the ability to drop out, economic responsibilities, fear about the future, social security, whatever it is, so we can continue to just align with Sphere 8 and suppress Sphere 7, just align with negative adaptive child and suppress negative free child, or, let negative free child out on the weekends. Or we could try to find Sphere 6 and try to find balance. How? By admitting we have no clue how to do that. By admitting we are powerless. By trying to find the ideal parental figure inside that will accept us, our own internal parent construct, that will accept us and say, yes, this is entirely a confusing and insane situation where you're forced, or you feel forced, or you're forcing yourself to conform to the static masculine, to the we space, to the rules, to the regulations, to the limits, to the criticism, to Sphere 8, and only recourse you've found is Sphere 7, to rebel, to conquer, have fantasies of conquering and escaping. And television and media is often an outlet for that, whether it's political or fiction, fictional stories. The opportunity for us, and perhaps the reason that all this chaos and confusion happen, is for us to align with Sphere 6 so that we can ease back into the bardo, Sphere 1, without resistance. And we can also move down into the manifestation without resistance. The imagination and the manifestation, Spheres 9 and 10, can simply be balanced by the ideal parental figure saying, yes, there are these polarities. Yes, they're struggling to remove the confusion. And yes, it is unmanageable. Each time we think we've managed, we've figured out how to make peace with the dynamic masculine, with the rules and the regulations, with Sphere 8 influence, another thing comes up. They add one more feather to our weight, one more task, one more criticism, one more limitation, one more confusing situation where we don't fit, or something doesn't fit. I would suggest that it's intentional, because we're here to radically accept, to realistically accept, to rationally accept, reasonably accept this confusion exercise in order to find balance by admitting we cannot make sense of it. It's ironic that the reason we exist is to see that we can't force some mental reason on why we exist, but rather to continually surrender and find humility in the face of a very confusing, chaotic, and demanding world that is so easily unbalanced.